That's why we oppose this bill.
Michael Wood.
Speaker, this bill is the ultimate example of a solution that is looking for a problem. The ultimate example of a solution looking for a problem. And I have sat here, listened to speech after speech from the government members. I've read departmental statements and media releases, and it is still unclear to me what the public policy problem that we are trying to solve here is. And I'll give some credit to Brett Hudson when he got up to speak before, because he has been the only member from the government benches who has actually tried to define what the problem was. And it was painful. It was like Mr Magoo sort of groping around during a power cut. But he came up with one reason that he thought that we needed this bill, the Trade Anti-Dumping and Countervailing Duties Amendment Bill. And he said somewhat perplexingly that if we have a drought, there might be a need to have cheaper products in our economy. And that spoke exactly to the problem, in fact, sir, that we have vulnerable producers in our country, vulnerable producers in our agricultural sector, people like the peach growers who have submitted to the Select Committee on this issue, who face issue after issue, challenge after challenge to keep their businesses sustainable without the threat of dumped goods coming in from overseas and entirely wiping out their businesses and their livelihoods. That was the closest we got to a reason for this bill. And I challenge any of the members who guffaw across there to actually put forward a reason for why we have this bill. When you read the departmental disclosure statement, there are, I think, a sum total of 7 current cases where we have anti-dumping duties and countervailing duties in place at the moment. About 7. Again, what problem are we trying to solve? The other thing, Mr Speaker, that hasn't been explained to me, I think it's absolutely mystifying and curious, is the fact that the public interest test runs directly counter to the point of anti-dumping duties. Because here's the thing, why do you dump goods in a market? You dump goods in a market because you want to be able to sell them at under the market price, you want to knock out the domestic producers. So the dumping relies entirely on you being able to sell your goods very, very cheaply. Yet in the public interest test that the Minister considers, she has to consider the effect of the duty on the prices of light goods produced in New Zealand. This runs directly counter to the point of us having duties in the first place. It would be like a robber standing before a judge before sentencing, and the judge having to consider the injustice on the robber's family of that family not being able to keep the stolen goods. The mischief here is that goods come in below market price, they knock out local producers, and here we have the Minister being able to consider that those low below market prices are a good thing, and she has to weigh that against the damage that is done to our producers. And that is completely counterintuitive in a public policy sense, sir. Sir, we heard submission after submission from organisations that you would normally count as part of the solid National Party constituency. The agricultural producers, Business New Zealand, Horticulture New Zealand, the peach growers, and time again, sir, they raised the risk of this bill to their businesses and to their livelihoods. And they made 2 very important points, which again have not been responded to by the government benches. They raised these 2 points, sir, that often, particularly in the agricultural sector, and I would have thought the National Party would be sensitive to this point, if dumped goods come in and they destroy businesses, that's it for a long time. Once the trees have been cut down because your peach orchard has been undermined by dumped goods, that's it. You can't grow the trees and have peaches again next year. It's a 5 to 10 year downtime for that industry. We heard from Business New Zealand as well about the downstream effect, something that is not considered in the public interest test, because many of these industries in horticulture and in manufacturing don't just employ people at their locale, they have a huge number of businesses and entities that supply them and rely on them and supply employment to large numbers of people. That will not be considered, and we haven't heard a response from the government on that. So this is going to be another kick in the guts for our exporters who already have a hard time of it. We heard from my colleague David Parker before that this government had a goal of increasing our exports to 40%. They've quietly dropped that one as exports have dropped to under 30% of GDP. And sir, this will make it more difficult for our exporters. Sir, this bill goes to the fact that this government has no ideas to support our productive exporting economy, and it's time for a fresh start with a Labour government after the September the 23rd. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker.
Simon O'Connor.